I've been incarcerated for almost half the year over a gun that the DAs lied and said I shot. In 2021, they demanded I take a DNA test. I took that test with no pushback, delay, or question. Not only because I knew I never shot the gun, but mainly because I was 100% positive I never even touched this gun. In my trial, the verdict of guilty or innocent depended heavily on my DNA results. With the help of LA Crime Lab's DNA expert Randy Zepeda, DA Kathy Tarr and Alex Bott completely manipulated my DNA results and lied to the world, the media, and most importantly, my jury, by stating my DNA on the gun was inconclusive. That was an absolute lie. They went on further to say, inconclusive means that he cannot be excluded from the gun. My new attorney, Jose Baez, hired one of the best DNA experts in the nation to carefully analyze the same DNA test the fair and correct way. The results came back exactly as I knew this whole time. My DNA is 100% excluded and 100% eliminated from the gun. In other words, it's physically and scientifically impossible for me to ever have touched or shot this gun. After the correct and careful analyzation of my DNA testing, not only did our expert find my DNA 100% excluded and non-existent on the gun, but what's worse was the invalid and illegal tactics the prosecution chose to attain the results used to convict me. Based on the fundamentals of my DNA test, the only possible way for the LA Crime Lab to come up with an inconclusive result would literally be to stop the testing before it finished or completed its final result, which would have and should have shown completely my full exclusion on the weapon. In other words, District Attorneys Kathy Tarr and Alex Bott lied to my jury with false, incorrect, and incomplete DNA results, violating my due process and my 14th Amendment rights. My faith, my prayers, and my highest hopes go to the Honorable Judge Hereford that on May 8th, he rules in favor of the United States Supreme Court law, returning me to my freedom, my family, and most importantly, the justice of a fair trial.
So that is the voice of Tory Lanez. He's obviously currently incarcerated. He's been in jail since December 23rd of 2022, which was the day he found out that he was guilty of 3 firearm charges that all stem back to the night that Megan Thee Stallion claims she was shot in California, right? Tory Lanez has yet to be sentenced. Obviously, he's trying to say, hey, I don't need to be sentenced at all. I'm an innocent man. He's been successful with new representation. That's right. Tory has a different attorney for his appeal that he is trying to file alongside his new attorney, Jose Baez. Tory's whole thing the whole time has been, yo, I'm an innocent man. I believe the evidence that's been presented against me is faulty. Tory's new attorney, Jose Baez, believe they now have new evidence that would prove that the DNA found on said firearm, in which all 3 of the charges that Tory was found guilty of involved said firearm. He was never found guilty of shooting Megan Thee Stallion. He was just hit with a couple of felony firearm charges and one that wasn't a felony. For Tory, it's like, yo, I need a new trial. His team has been successful at pushing the date back a couple times as they get more and more evidence for their side of the story. The new date in which a judge will have to make a decision if Tory gets a new trial or not is officially May 8th. I don't believe this bad boy will get pushed back again, because Tory is at the point where if he can't prove that he needs a new trial, the judge is going to go ahead and sentence Tory. And at that time, number one, Tory's facing deportation. And number 2, he's facing 22 years, 8 months. So for Tory, time is of the essence. May 8th is the new date that Tory will be in front of a judge with his new attorney for an appeal. And at that time, the judge will have to make a decision. Hey, am I going to give Tory a new trial? Has he proven that evidence used against him was faulty or not? Tory did write on his Instagram account, "Dear George Gaskin," this is the Los Angeles District Attorney. He said, "I write this message with the utmost humility, love, and respect for the remarkable stance you've taken in regards to fighting for the justice of black and brown minorities. Today, I take a stance as an innocent black man wrongfully convicted of a crime I did not commit. I watched 2 district attorneys from your office unlawfully misuse their authority to hide and suppress any and all exculpatory evidence that exonerates me or furthers my innocence. I was completely robbed and deprived of a fair trial. On May 8th, my lawyers will be arguing a motion for a new trial. Not only do I owe it to myself to fight for my freedom, but I owe it to my 6-year-old child, my family, fans, and most importantly, the hundreds of thousands of Black and Hispanic minorities that cannot adequately fight for themselves. For 3 years, the prosecution has manipulated a false narrative that has left me with no choice but to expose and make aware the practices, the behind-door deals, and the unjust system used to illegally convict me and countless other minorities. We elected you because of your outstanding eminence in making fair and correct judgments in the justice of people of color. Mr. Gaskin, I come to you today as a wrongfully convicted man, not asking for sympathy nor compassion, but for you to simply do what is fair and right by the laws of California, and most importantly, in the eyes of God. Until my court date, I'll be posting the outrageous and disgusting injustices used against me by the prosecution to get the conviction that they so desperately wanted, despite the evidence they knew existed. Again, the important date in this bad boy is May 8th, where a decision will be made if Tory Lanez will get a new trial or if he will be incarcerated until his sentencing date. Again, he's facing nearly 23 years in prison. Thank y'all so much for the time, love, and support. It's what your boy will never take for granted. Salute. I'm out.